Huh? I asked her for something we're doing for social media tomorrow because she and my son helped me out with that.
Oh.
But a little bit. But mostly she wanted to know who the guest picker was going to be because I made a reference to it. So
Ooh.
I told her, I don't know if I can tell you guys or not. Julie, can I tell them about the guest picker yet or not? I can?
Oh, we get spoilers?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wait, I want to.
No.
No. All right, sorry.
No, you're okay.
All right.
Rece, listen.
Not Matthew McConaughey. How about
Not
that?
Matthew McConaughey.
Because he's in Hawaii, I think, or something.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Listen to the podcast. You said that Bama would cover. One sleep. Have you changed your opinion on that matter, or is it still the case?
No, I mean, I still think they will, but if you listen to it, I think it's a little bit of a thing where I think they'll pull away. I don't think it's one of these deals. I think Stephen A. and some of the guys were saying it'll come out, 28-0. I actually, if I envision how I think the game's going to go, Sark will have something to cross up their reads or their checks or something. Texas will score early. Place will be going nuts. It'll be back and forth for a while, and then a little bit. I mean, it's going to be right at that number if they cover. The caveat to that is that Alabama didn't do great in this scenario a year ago. But I do think their offensive line's better. They're a year older. I mean, they struggled at Florida. They had to hold on. They'd come back at the end at Auburn and got beat at A&M, when they were similar favorites to this. So I do think they will, but I think they'll have to work for it, and it'll probably be late if it happens.
Do you think this is one of those games where, Bama's going to crush them, but maybe Texas, we see a couple of those explosive plays that Sark has talked about?
I'm sure. I mean, that's the goal because you're not likely to matriculate the ball down the field in small chunks consistently. Now, you may have a drive or two, where you just move it down on them, but that's a hard way to make a living against Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, To'o, Jordan Battle. That's a tough way to make a living, to not get it in chunks. So you'll have to get some explosive plays, and if he can come up with some to fool them a little bit, as almost everybody they play does something different. So they're a little accustomed to it, but you see a lot of times they'll give up a chunk play or two or a few early in games until everybody has to adjust and settle down. So we'll see how it goes.
You were here in 2019, different regime. What have you seen in your time here this week that's a lot different that has Sark's fingerprints on the program?
It's kind of hard to say because I haven't been here that long, but just watching from afar, I think you see a connection and direction, a commitment to him, the understanding that the constant turnover in the head coaching position is not good. Even with the way they finished last season, there wasn't this outcry of, he better win this year, we're going to change again. So I think there's a lot of strength that can be found in that by some commitment to believing that Steve's the guy and that he'll do a good job in the long term, and I think that he will. I think he'll make Texas a contender over the course of time. He's a great recruiter, dynamic offensive coach and play caller, great with quarterbacks. I mean, what's not to like? It's going to be great here. I don't know if great is going to start Saturday. Might. I mean, he kind of downplayed the idea of this being a defining game. Well, if you win it, it is, because you can't win it and then do what A&M did last year and still go back to 8-4, because that's just an upset. That doesn't signal you're a rival. Anybody can step on a rake and hit themselves in the face and get beat. I mean, that happens. That's ball, right? The question is, if you win that game, can you follow it up? So there's the potential, if Texas could pull the upset, that this is a defining moment, and that will be a bigger challenge than actually pulling the upset, in my judgment.
Rece, every week you guys travel the biggest game of the week, but this historically is between two of the biggest blue bloods in college football. What's different about this week, given the history of these two programs?
Name brands are huge. I think the passionate fan bases, the fact that they really haven't played a lot relative to their status in the sport over the course of time. This will be the 10th meeting, I think. Doesn't seem like a lot. Not a long way apart. They've both been powerhouses, dating back to the Darrell Royal, Bear Bryant eras, and even before that. So I think that there's a little bit of novelty to it. I think it's great that it's on campus. I sensed traveling in here yesterday, both from Texas people who no longer live here who are traveling in, and a throng of Alabama people. There is a genuine excitement about this game not just because of the brand name matchup, but because of where it is. I think that's especially true for Alabama people, because as much as they've enjoyed the neutral site games and playing the big time opponents, and they played everybody. USC, Michigan, Clemson, you name it, they've played everybody neutral site. Haven't gotten to do this, and I think their fans are really juiced up about it, and I think that really creates a great vibe for the game.
Kind of touching on that, just talk about what you expect, the excitement here on campus for game day, and then the huge matchup between Texas and Alabama.
We had an electric crowd here in 2019. I think it was even hotter then than it's going to be tomorrow. So a little bit different because that was a night game, so they had a little time to recover. But we're expecting a great crowd in the morning to come out, because I think Texas is really excited about the opportunity to make a statement. I mean, where in the world would they be ranked if they win this game? Top 10 next week if they win this game. So it's a great opportunity for them to sort of define themselves and make a statement in the Sarkisian era. And I think for Alabama, it's an opportunity to go on the road and beat a highly respected opponent. Even with Texas struggles at the end last year, with Quinn Ewers now at quarterback, with all the talent that they've brought in, this is a respected program and team, and so I think there's a lot of energy surrounding it, and it'll be loud and like a cauldron in there, I think, come 11 a.m. local time for the kickoff. 11 a.m. kickoff, much to the chagrin of the administrators, I think, but the players and coaches have probably moved past that by now.
What do you think about Texas?
What I think about Texas? You mean the team or the state or the university?
The team, yep.
The team. I think they're really talented. I think they're probably still another recruiting class or two away from moving into the ultra stratosphere, the upper echelon of the sport with Alabama and Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, people like that. They're probably more talent acquisition away from that, but they're certainly off to a great start. When you have Quinn Ewers here, who's a really talented guy, yet inexperienced, Arch Manning on the way. This is a great transfer destination, and everybody lives in the transfer portal now. So I think it's a program that will be back among the national contenders very, very soon.
How do you stay cool in a suit on a 95-degree
Well,
morning?
I live in a suit. When I cut my grass, I'm in a suit. I eat dinner at night in a suit. So that's just how people should dress. I don't even know why I'm dressed like this now. No, we used to have water-cooled shirts that we wore underneath, and they plugged them in, but they weren't very mobile. They've now changed to little things that we sit on, which are really pretty cold, and it's remarkable how much that helps you. I mean, it kind of keeps the body temperature down and keeps you from just oozing sweat. Now, whether that helps Herb Street or not will be a different issue altogether, because I sweat, but Pollock and Herb Street, now they sweat gravy. So, but that helps. That's pretty much the thing. And there are air conditioning vents under the main set too that blow on us that knock off the worst of the heat. I don't think it's going to be that bad. It's like 86 at kickoff. And some of my colleagues disagree with this. You can give me 96 in this heat all day long over the -8 in Minneapolis or in Madison. I'll take this every time. So I'm not bothered at all by it. I like it. I'm good.
We think KVUE needs to, if you want to pitch to KVUE, to get a couple of those seats.
Yeah, maybe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should.
What's the excitement like for having McAfee on the show starting this week?
I'm really fired up about it. From the time that Pat joined us in some guest roles a few years ago, we've been wanting him to be on full time, and it's finally worked out with his schedule. He's just such a unique talent in that he connects with people so well, easily likable. I remember the first time he was with us at South Dakota State. After the show, Kirk and I were leaving to go, and we were walking out, and we both looked at each other and went, yeah, he needs to be on the show. And I'm thrilled that it's happened. He's a terrific guy, loves ball, loves people. I think he's going to be a great addition to our team, and he's really excited to be here, and we're excited to have him.
We're going to do one more for Rece, guys.
So you kind of touched on it, but could you just kind of describe like how good it is for college football for big time programs scheduling true home and home non-conference games?
it's good for the fans. And one of the challenges in this era of football, and we in television are to blame for this, it's a great experience to sit at home on Saturdays and watch games. I mean, you see everything in comfort, there are no lines, there are no parking, all that kind of stuff. So you have to make it attractive to go to the stadium. And there was an era, really helped jumpstart Alabama's recruiting when they were playing all these neutral site games. But now the time has come to keep the fannies in the seats, to sell season tickets that you need legit big time games. And I think that's the best thing about it. College football is meant to be played on campus. Now, I'm not saying never neutral sites, but it's better on campus. There's more energy surrounding it. There's more tradition. I know you can travel Bevo, but it's better when Bevo's here, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I think it's just really what the sport was meant to be. It's meant to be on campus. It gives you the sense of nostalgia, lets the alums come back to a place they're familiar with. It lets fans of the other team come in and experience something, see something new. So it's great, and people across the sport are doing it. I know both of these programs have a lot, even with Texas impending move to the SEC, they have a lot of home and home scheduled with big time opponents. Like over the next, I don't know how long, 10 years or so. I think Alabama's playing Ohio State, Notre Dame, Wisconsin. They're doing all of that, and most everybody is, because athletic directors are worried about selling season tickets, and that's a good way to do it, is making high-profile matchups and also giving them a stadium experience, which Texas has done very, very well in the last few years. A stadium experience that you can't have sitting at home watching television. But you don't get your car towed. I will say this, if Quinn Ewers leads the Longhorns to an upset of Alabama, he can park by that clock tower. Mm-hmm. He can park right in the middle of the LBJ library from this point for the rest of his life. He's got parking carte blanche if they win this game. I have declared it. Somebody make it happen.
We'll pass it along to him.
All right.
He may also have just carte blanche.
Might. Wait, I think he can afford the tickets. So
Yeah, I think so too.
That's good. Good for him, by the way, on that. So good.
Thank you.
All right.
Reece.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
Reece.
guys.
Thanks for the time.
All right.